Each one of us have an inner healing power that is accessible to us all the time. My passion in my heart has been, how can I reach more people? How can I help more people to become aware of the inner healing power they have in themselves? And that passion directly goes back to my own experience as a child with a person that has suffered from a severe disease. I was born in India to a middle-class family with two sisters, well, a sister 2 years older than me and a sister 2 years younger than me. My father was a government worker. He worked as a superintendent of the roads and buildings department, and he'd be gone most of the time outside the home. And my mother was the glue that kept our family together, because she was there at home all the time, and she gave us the ultimate in love that I experienced, gave everything she had to us. Until I was 9 years old, and suddenly disaster struck in the form of something strange happened to my mother. I came home around 4 o'clock one afternoon from school, and was kind of surprised that my mother was not there to greet me. And then went inside, and she was in bed, lying in bed, and that was unusual for her. I've never seen her being sick or anything in my entire life. So I went there and asked Mom what's going on, and she was kind of staring into the house, into the sky, and she could barely talk. You know, by probing and encouraging, she would talk, but she was withdrawing for some reason. A few weeks' time, she became totally withdrawn, almost like confined to bed. My father took her to the doctors, and they used to give medications. That's back in the 50s. Not many medications were available for those conditions at that time, and you would consider some of those medications as poisonous today. And we were affected. They could see that. We would sit in the veranda, would really basically wonder, you know, why is the most loving human being that you know is afflicted with whatever is going on, which we did not know. You know, was it evil spirit or something physical? We didn't understand. We would cry on each other's shoulders and frequently wonder if our life is worth living. And in fact, my younger sister, you know, attempted suicide at some later point when she couldn't cope with this, you know, anymore. And on the top of that, our academic grades have plummeted dramatically from being among the top in the class to among the bottom in the class. We stopped going to the playground to play, and we were all very preoccupied with a sense of helplessness, sense of hopelessness, sense of misery. I was good in math, top of the class in the math at that time. Somehow my mind started shifting to, how can I help my mother? How can I make her happy? And one of the ways in which I did was by staying with her all the time. You know, I was afraid that she might do something to hurt herself, which happened when she felt that she was a burden for us. One day when I came back from school, she was not in the bed, she was not in the front door. I went to the backyard, small backyard we had, and she just set fire to her yellow dress with black border. I can still remember distinctly. And I was a short boy, 9-year-old boy, and I fell all over her. And luckily the fire, you know, was put off. Very lucky. If it spread more, I wouldn't have been able to put off. And then that night, I was worried about her. I was awake watching her. You know, we had several beds in the same room. We had a large bedroom that we all slept in, several beds separated. And I watched her whole night. Early morning, before everybody else woke up, before the light came on, just early hours of the dawn, she got up, picked up all the strength she had, and walked out of the front door. She started walking on the street, and I followed her, and about 1.5, 2 miles from her home, there is a tributary of a river. She proceeds to that place, and then proceeds into the tributary of the river, into the water. At first I didn't understand what she was doing. And then she proceeds into the water, and she was beginning to become deeper and deeper in water. I was a little short boy, I didn't know how to swim. And I called, Mom, come back, and she would look at me, but wouldn't come back, would proceed. Finally, I decided to go ahead and catch her. And I finally caught on to her. By the time I was gasping for breath myself. So I was hanging on to her, and the water was basically choking me. I was, you know, not able to breathe properly, gasping for breath barely. I did not know how to swim at that time, a little short boy. So she realized, she looked down and she realized that I probably will die, drown before she died. So she picked me up in her arms and we both came out. She brought me to the shore. And the wet clothes, she held my hand and we both walked back to the house, a mile and a half long walk with the wet clothes. And we had a little Gandhi statue there on the way when that road joins that smaller road that took my home. And at that time, he was like a high spiritual being for me and said, help me. And then we slowly walked back home, and that was probably as helpless a time as I've ever felt in my life, with not knowing what the options were. Of course, for a 9-year-old, it's not my age at time to worry about taking care of people. But at that time, I said, there's got to be a way of helping her. And I've learned more from that experience, and that has imprinted my mind and my soul in a very deep way, to the point that I want to dedicate my life to helping people with these conditions, also helping people that do not have access to medical care. And then I had very good fortune of having my grandfather come to the picture. So we spent several months at his small village where he retired, and from being an administrator of a small kingdom, he used to be a tax collector basically. He started his own informal volunteer clinic at his home, and he would send several volunteers to these mountains to get these herbs and roots and mix them up and give to people free of charge. And while he was doing that, he would counsel with them like a mature adult would, like a father figure. And I would watch and wonder, how people healed with what he was doing, with no surgeries, no modern medicines. I learned from him how to connect with people. So he was a major force in helping me to understand more about what's going on with my mother, as he understood. Also have belief in the future, belief in a power that's greater than you, belief in the goodness of human beings, and how we can utilize a negative experience like that to strengthen us and to find answers. And basically gave me some initial tools that helped me to have a little branch of hope that I could hang on to. And I was very good at school. With that intention of really doing something, I said, I'm going to be a healer of some kind. So the medical school was the next best thing I know. So I studied hard to go to medical school at a very early age of 15 and a half, and I was accepted to medical school. And from then onwards, we tried to find modern cures for her. So the dean of the medical school really liked me for some reason, and he used to do some research and help me understand, our family doctor understand what's going on with mother, and try to get some medications and some other treatments. And that led to some few years of reasonably comfortable life for her till the end. But her illness and what she's been through left a permanent mark in my life. That's in a short story of what I've been through and what shaped me. I think what I'm doing today, what I'll be doing for the next 20, 30 years, if God gives me that much life, is completely predetermined to a great extent by the suffering of the most loving human being that I've ever been in my life with. And that's the person that brought me to the world.